Okay, y'all just let us know when you want to get started or you want to allow a few more minutes for people to come in.
So I'm reading right at 10. Let's maybe like leave it to 10:01 or 10:02.
Okay, perfect. Sounds
Do
good.
you guys just want to share for the next 2 minutes just a little bit about you? That way it'll be in the recording too. And
Absolutely. We can go there. We'll tell you, we can do the opening.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, this is a class that we generally will teach in person. We haven't taught it in person now in well over a year. But we have done, probably 30 of these 1-hour versions of this content. This is all MREA. It's all millionaire real estate agent related. You'll hear us say several things throughout this presentation. You'll hear us say 33 touch. You'll hear us say 36 touch. We use those terms interchangeably. The original MREA, right, talks about a 33 touch program. We'll kind of dive into what that is and why that is. And once Gary started really revising and rewriting really MREA and doing all the research, he found that not a whole lot has changed. There is an MREA 2 book that will come out. Some of the things that have changed are related to the organizational model. ISAs obviously have come into the mix since original MREA. Internet leads have come into play. And the touch program has gone from a 33 touch to a 36 touch. So at the Peters Company, we've already revised that and we do a 36 plus touch. I mean, we've got a program that adds even an additional 12 touches on top of our 36 plus touch. So we just didn't want to confuse you guys. If you hear 33, 36, it really kind of mean the same thing. The other thing, just housekeeping that I would say about this class is a lot of times people have a really great marketing idea and they consider it theirs and don't consider sharing it with other people because they're worried somebody might copy them, right? The whole culture of KW is about copying people. So I want you to kind of throw away that thought. What happens generally in mastermind type settings, somebody has a great idea and they vocalize it, and then someone else pluses it. They make it better. And in the off chance that you have the same people in the database, you might have a little bit of overlapping database with your neighbor. If the person gets the same idea in a mailer from 2 different real estate agents, that's okay. Nobody's going to die from that. So just make sure that you guys are free-flowing, sharing ideas. I think that's the best way to get stuff out of this.
It'd be awesome if you guys set up a marketing mastermind in the office after this or via Zoom, right? And just shared ideas. So this class is an adaptation from our normal 3-hour class that we taught in person with you guys about, I guess, almost 2 years ago. So it's fun to be back, and we've just adapted it, shorter version for Zoom. So who in the world are we? We are Andy and Lesley Peters out of Atlanta, Georgia. We have a team of 14. I just added that this morning because we were a team of 12 about a week ago, and 2 of our new agents are actually on this call today. We told them to jump into training, right? So we're glad they could join us. So thank you guys for allowing them that opportunity. And we did 100 million in volume last year with 220 transactions. We're very balanced on our team. We're 50% operations staff and 50% salespeople. And I think that's a really important combination. So many teams get really sales heavy and don't have the adequate support for their operations. And the reason that we're able to run this marketing plan that touches our database 36 plus times a year is because we have amazing operations people supporting our agents.
And you and I are operations people now.
Absolutely. Andy and I do not sell anymore, and our business is still 80% repeat and referral. So our friends use our agents on our team. We no longer sell, we just lead and teach, which we've been in this business for 15 years and 13 years. So
yeah, our second largest pillar now is actually agent referrals as a result of doing stuff like this. So obviously, if you have any Atlanta referrals, keep us in mind for that.
Absolutely. So we have been MREA agents. What does that mean? In 2013, we grossed $1 million from our real estate team for the first time. And in 2018, we actually netted $1 million from our real estate team. So we've had that MREA status since 2013. We're coaches and trainers. We should probably take this off, but we were the #1 group in the Southeast region in 2018. And we haven't been since.
No,
We got some work to do.
Yeah.
Work to do. We're a part of Gary Keller's Top Agent Mastermind group. We highly believe in coaching. We have actually three incredible coaches. We're coached by Gene Rivers since 2014. Craig Zuber and Craig's wife is our operations coach, Nicole Zuber. So they're all amazing people. If you don't have a coach and you've hit a plateau in your business, go get one. It will change your life. And then Andy, you have a little side hustle, right?
Yeah. I'm operating partner for 3 Keller Williams offices in North Metro Atlanta. They include Alpharetta, we call it North, Keller Williams Realty Consultants in Roswell, and Keller Williams Chattahoochee North, which is located in Peachtree Corner. So in addition to the production team, we're in the brokerage world too. We enjoy helping as many people as we can.
Absolutely. So enough about us, highly boring. Let's move on to the fun stuff. Are you guys ready? Should we wait a few minutes or are we ready to go?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's do this. Okay, Andy. So I am a statistics nerd. And what I love most about Family Reunion and Mega Camp, which they didn't share a lot of this last week because they're going to do it March 3rd. So everybody tune in March 3rd when Gary and Jay really dissect the latest statistics. But I love the statistic from last year. It says, according to the National Association of Realtors, 90% of your buyers and sellers say that they're going to use you again, and only 12% do. Guys, that is abysmal. That is so terrible for our industry because they leave happy. You guys have happy clients and they don't use you most 90% of the time.
Yeah.
90% of the time, and then they don't come back. Why? Why is there that disparity? It's because we don't keep in touch. We do not have a 33 or 36 touch program set up to touch our sphere of influence and our clients. And so they forget our name. And I know that's so hard for us to think about is I was in this car with this buyer for 6 weeks. I missed my kid's soccer game, right? I missed my kid's basketball game. I dropped everything for this buyer. And then 7 years later, we're driving past their house showing another buyer. And oh my gosh, there's a sign in the yard with another real estate agent. Have you guys ever had that happen?
Yeah.
Every one of us has had that happen. And most of the time, guys, it's because we just don't keep in touch. So what we're going to do today is we're really going to walk you through how to develop a 33 or 36 touch plan. And we are going to, this class is about an hour, and I got permission before we started. If we go an hour in the class, we can stay like 10 or 15 minutes after to answer questions that you guys may have. And we'll check the chat box at the end if that's cool with you. So if you don't want to forget your question, go in and put it in the chat and we'll check it at the end. So let's really dive into what a 33 touch plan should garner.
Yeah, so this is straight out of MREA, right? This is the touch program outlined there. And what it says is that for every 12 people in your MET database. Now, before I go any further, can we define what a MET is? Lesley, what do you think a MET is?
Well, this is a funny story, actually, because I interview agents all the time. And when they're getting into the business, I'll say, so how many people do you have in your database? And they say 100. I mean, 100. It's the classic answer. And I bet you guys, many of you would say that. And I say, oh, really? How many Facebook friends do you have? Oh, 1,000? What about Instagram followers? Oh, like 1,500? That is a huge disparity between the number of people that should be in your database and the number of people you actually know. So what
a lot of people think that it's the wedding list, right?
Yes.
They think it's like your core people or your best friends. And those are part of it, but there's a lot more.
And what we know, though, is that sometimes your best friends aren't even going to use you. But sometimes that person that you barely know that lives down the street from you will be the one that refers you the most business. So we can't leave anyone off that list. So our rule of thumb is if I see you in the grocery store and I know your name, then you should be on my list. So, Andy,
If you're an acquaintance.
you should be on my list,
Yeah.
right? Because you just never know and you don't want to leave anyone out. We hear people all the time too, Andy, that say, I take people off my list.
Oh God, no.
We never take people off our list
Unless you don't
they're
wanna
a
work with them.
horrible
Yeah.
person and we do not want to work with them. And
Unless
we all have
judge
that.
them. Unless we judge them
Yes,
harshly.
we take them off our
Yeah.
list.
And then they still come back though.
Yes, they do, unfortunately.
Yeah. So what we're talking about here are these METs. These are people that we know them or they know us. Doesn't have to be our best friends. But when we market to these people 33 times, we can reasonably expect 2 sales to come from those 12 contacts. And the reason why it's 2 out of 12 is that one of the 12 people will actually use you. They will become a client. And then you'll receive 1 referral from those 12 people that you've marketed to 33 times. So sometimes you hear 6 to 1, 12 to 2 is the real number. And the reason why it's 12 to 2, not 6 to 1 is because there is a difference between where those 2 people come from. Then let's look at the unmet side. So the unmet side, this would be like an internet lead. This would be like geographical farming, right? If you had a particular neighborhood or area that you wanted to send mailers to, and you don't necessarily know all these people. Sometimes a geographical farm or a farm is not even geographical. Sometimes it could be like, I send mailers to
My kid's school.
Yeah, a school or a certain industry or segment, right? So whatever it is you choose, but these are more or less cold, right? These are not warm relationships. But MREA, the original MREA says for every 50 people that you market to 12 times, and it actually refers to this as something called a 12 direct, think like 12 mailers or 12 emails or something that you would touch them 12 times over the course of a year, you could reasonably expect 1 sale. We found that's not really accurate. And we were on the phone a couple of years ago with Garrett Linderman. He's one of the writers. He's actually helping Gary rewrite MREA. And it'll be released hopefully whenever Gary says it's ready. There's not a date out for it yet, but Garrett was interviewing us about this topic. What does our 33 touch or 36 touch look like? And he dug and dug and dug. We were on the phone with him for about an hour. And at the end, he said, do you have any questions for us? We said, well, actually, we do. We're really struggling with this unmet piece. MREA says 1 out of 50, and we're not receiving that result.
And we were even sending 18 touches a year, not just 12.
Yeah, we were geographically farming an area of about 2,000 houses. And so Garrett said, well, I don't have all the data yet, but it's fair to say that that number will probably be worse. We've actually seen that unmets, again, with experience in a lot of internet leads, is more like 1 out of 100. We think that's a more accurate number. So it'll be interesting to see what the research shows. But the question we generally have here is that 1 out of 6 versus 1 out of 100, where do you want to spend your time and resources? Right? You want to be on the Met side. That's the logical place. Now, some people are really good at geographical farming and they make a living out of it. But I'll tell you what they do is they turn an unmet geographical farm into a Met database, right? They list manage the homes or the people that are in that farm. They know everything about that property and those people. And they really do a good job of just creating a database out of unmets and make them mets.
So let's look at these numbers and what they actually mean. So if you have 100 people in your Met database, which every one of you on this call should have more, 100 people should generate about 16, 17 closings a year. And I found that true. My very first year in the business, I was only marketing to 100 people part-time. I wasn't even hitting 33 times a year, and I had 12 closings working part-time. So this can easily be done. And in most markets, 16, 17 closings, Andy, is a pretty good living.
It's a good business, yeah.
It's a good business. But look at what happens when you hit 500. That gets you to 83 closings per year. And then I want you to see the next jump. If you can get if you can get 1,000 people in your Met database, you're going to have around 166 closings in a year. And guys, we have seen this happen, and we're going to show you this in a few minutes on our stats. So
Well, in
really,
most markets, that's an MRA business.
that is, in most markets, 166 closings would be a millionaire real estate team, a gross millionaire real estate team. So it's really about a race to 1,000. So your homework today, your first homework, write it down, is to go grow your database. And the best way to do that is pull up social media and pull up command and cross-reference them. And I bet so many of you on this call probably could find 50 to 100 people just through that one exercise. So how quickly can we get to 1,000?
It's a race to 1,000 Mets.
It totally is. So let's switch it to the unmet side. And we know that these numbers probably aren't accurate. And Garrett even led us in that direction as well. So what I'm going to say is if you're marketing to a 1,000-person farm at least 12 times a year through mail, the most you can really expect, guys, is 10 closings. And the reason we kind of have determined this is we have internet leads coming in, and our ISA actually is calling 6 times in the first week. And our conversion is about 3 out of 100. So 12 direct, I think you can kind of throw that out the window, and let's see how quickly we can turn those unmets into Mets.
Okay, so
All right, so let's take a look at how the touch program has kind of progressed through the years, because do we have new agents on this? Do we have a kind of smattering of new and experienced agents? Most of the time we do. And so,
I'm very
okay, good.
Good.
You're in the right place. God, I wish I had done this when I first got into real estate, right? When you look at 2006, that was Leslie's first full year in real estate.
No,
Well,
it wasn't.
you were working full-time and working full-time in real estate.
Yes. So I got into business in 2006, and I was a full-time teacher, and I didn't have a lot of time, and I didn't have a lot of money. And I would get out of school every day at 4 o'clock. I would go to the real estate office, and I had a broker that was amazing, our team leader at the time. And he said, listen, I know you don't have a lot of time, and I know you don't have a lot of money. However, can you get out 12 touches to your database? I had 100 people in my database because I didn't want the teachers to know that I had a side hustle. I was keeping it really quiet. So I only had 100 people in my database. And he said, just send out really amazing touches. So I sent out 1 mailer a month. I made sure that I was conditioning people to open my mail. I made them fun. And that really worked. So the first year I closed 12 transactions part-time, had my first baby, our first baby. And then in 2007, I actually gave up my teaching job and was in real estate full-time. Although for those of you that may be part-time agents here, I really wasn't full-time. I had 2-day-a-week childcare. Andy traveled Tuesday to Friday every week, and I still didn't have a lot of time. So I did not increase those touches that second year. However, I did grow the database because I started marketing to all those teachers. And that year, I doubled my business to 23 units that year. And then by 2008, I'm still rocking along, right? I had about 300 people in my database doing 12 touches a year. And I hit the same number of closings, which was 25. And there's a good lesson here. What is it?
Well, that was also the year that I came into it. I think I came in August
Yeah.
2008. And I was just another strong back, really. I mean, I didn't have any new database to bring to the table because Lesley was already marketing to all of my people. So we just got a little bit of leverage. We didn't pick up any more people.
And I think the lesson here, though, is for you guys that have done the same level of units year after year, beware. Because when you keep doing the same amount of units, you have reached a ceiling, and you typically need someone, not something, to help you break through that ceiling. And for me, my someone was Andy coming into the business because I could not break through that 24-ish unit, and something had to change. Well, when Andy came in, we started doing 24 touches a year, and Andy had a huge job as vice president of sales, gave up his former office, $150,000 a year salary to join me in real estate. So we didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah, and the market was not particularly good in 2009.
Yeah, it wasn't.
2010 was actually the pit of the market, right?
Yeah, so we were really working to save money. So that's what I want you guys to hear here. If you're doing 12 touches a year, you can get to 24 touches a year truly without spending any more money because email is free. So could you create an email newsletter? And that's exactly what we did to get to 24 touches. We had an email newsletter running every single month, and then we had a mailer running every single month. But then something happened, Andy, in 2011. We did the same amount of units again.
Well, 2010, we did the same amount of units, and again, think about what was going on in the market at that point. Right? Blood in the streets.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to mute someone. If somebody, I don't think I have capability to do that. Sorry.
So when we look at 2010, we were at a point where we were exhausted. Like we were frustrated with the market, we were exhausted. And, the MREA book really came to life here. We had an assistant team leader that basically said, "You guys need to go hire someone." We're like, "What? Hire someone? How are we going to hire somebody?" We might need a mute.
Yeah, can someone help us mute? I don't have capability to mute, and we're hearing a lot of.
Marlene, can you please put yourself on mute, Marlene?
Thank you, guys. Sorry.
So the assistant team leader basically says, like, you need to go hire somebody. And we were so confused. We were like, oh my God, like how in the world? We just went backwards and you're telling us to go hire somebody. We started setting aside some money and we hired our first assistant. And look what it did to our business. 2010 to 2011, we doubled the business with one hire. Lesley and I were doing listings together. I was doing a lot of buyers. Lesley was handling marketing, and we had an administrative assistant that was basically handling all the back end.
Yeah, so I think this is a really important point for you guys is most people want to run out and hire agents, and that is not your first hire, right? Your first hire is an executive assistant. And then when you get so busy that the executive assistant can't handle the marketing, the second hire is actually a marketing assistant. And that's according to MREA. So the reason that our business exploded and doubled from 2010 to 2011, even in the pit of the real estate market, is because we made a commitment to do 33 touches a year and lead generate every single day. I never lead generated even 2 hours a day before. And by doing that one thing and running a 33 touch campaign, we continued every single year to grow our business. And today we're running a 36 plus touch campaign, and stay tuned. We're going to talk about exactly what that looks like. Any other thoughts on this graph?
Well, you see the rapid rise in unit count after we started doing 33 touches. This was a result of adding people, certainly adding salespeople that were magnetic and motivated. And it was also adding the right support staff to back them up and improve the client experience. But growing the database was crucial to us doing more business.
Absolutely. So when you're looking to hire someone, for those of you that are growing a team, we do use the M&M rule. We want to hire people that are magnetic and motivated. And how can you tell if someone's magnetic? They have a big database. Look at their friends on social media, look at their followers, and that'll give you a really good indication if their database is a database that you want to get into business with. Okay, let's keep rolling.
Yeah, so here's kind of boiled down. Here's the way you start thinking and approaching a marketing plan. We talked about this briefly at the beginning, but it's this idea of R&D, which doesn't stand for research and development. It stands for rip off and duplicate. And that's what we're good at Keller Williams, because we're such a sharing culture. We all just rip off each other and plus ideas. And that's what you should do. You shouldn't be apologetic about it. Most of what you're going to see here today was R&D from someone else. We, put our TPC stamp on it, and it became ours. But don't think that we succeeded by ourselves, right? We succeed and stand on the shoulders of giants that have come before us. So when we think about creating a marketing plan, we like to think about it in these 4 different ways. The first is consistency. If you were to just say, hey, this sounds good, Andy, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get real fired up about it, and you do it for 3 months and then you stop it, you might as well just not even start. The reality is this is a plan that will take you probably 12, 18 months to see results. And if that scares you, then don't do it, right? I hope that it fires you up, because anything worth having is worth working hard for, right? And here's the other encouraging thing that I can tell you about why you should stick to it. This plan today, for every dollar we spend on it, it returns $14. In fact, Gary and Jay actually cited our plan at Family Reunion. We've been teaching this content for such a long time. We've mastered it, right? We just continue to get better and better and better. But I don't think anybody could ever say, well, I don't have enough money to do it. Because if you've got $1 and you can get 14 in return, your response should be, how many times can I do that, right? So this is probably the easiest, most cost-effective, most fun way to generate business. So be consistent.
And consistency is so important. And we see this happen all the time with especially individual agents' business, right? Because we get really fired up about a marketing plan in January. We start lead generating, right? We go to the gym every day, and we also are marketing, and we're sending out amazing touches, and we keep it up through February. It's February, right? This is about when it starts happening. And then by March, we get really busy. Because it's the spring market, and our marketing and lead generation efforts worked. And March comes, and oh my gosh, I don't even have time to get out a mailer. I don't even have time, Andy, to keep lead generating. And so we stop, and then our business in the summer suffers. And that's why we have this roller coaster business. And if we can build a consistent marketing plan, we can prevent that.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about creativity. Creativity really is about your look, your feel. What do you want your brand to be about? What are you about, right? Lesley, you're reading a great book, or you finished a great book called For. What are you for? How do you use that to your advantage, forward facing with your clients? I think creativity means have some fun, right? You're not a chef. Don't send recipe cards, right? Do something that is more in line with what you like to do or what you think your database would like to do. But that's probably one of the biggest responses we get, is that we make real estate fun.
So 2 quick things, according to creativity, is 1, most people on this call are probably saying, I am not creative. Like, I just can't do creativity. So I have a few hacks for you. We send an item of value every single quarter, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And I always go and look at other people's ideas. We talked about R&D. There's 2 websites that are really great. And the first one is, oh my gosh, I just lost it. Here it is, popbyideas.com. I had a senior moment. So it's popbyideas.com, Popby ideas.com. And if you go to that website, she actually has great ideas for every single month of the year, with creative ways to touch your database and actually drop off pop buys by their house. Well, what happens when your database becomes 2,000 people? You don't have enough time or money to do pop buys for everyone. So my second favorite website where I can scale the creativity is orientaltrading.com. For any of you that have ever been to orientaltrading.com, you can buy dozens of things for really cheap. And I'm always looking for things that can fit in an envelope that doesn't cost any more money. So an example of this is, if you go to popbyideas.com in July, she's going to say, drop off sparklers for everyone in your database. Your referrals make my business sparkle. I went to Oriental Trading and said, I can't mail sparklers. What can I send? And we sent fireworks glasses that were American flag themed, and they make the fireworks crazy. So they were 25 cents a piece, and they easily fit in an envelope. So if you're not creative, you can actually buy creativity. And then the second part of this, Andy, that I always think about is one of my first listings,
Mhm.
luxury listings.
Mhm.
So I was 26 years old and I got 2 luxury listings from baby boomers, my parents' age. And I came home and Andy wasn't in the business yet. And he said, Lesley, how are you getting these? Like,
No offense.
no
but,
offense, but
yeah.
how are you getting these luxury listings? And I said, Andy, it's the craziest thing. I asked them and I actually say, like, tell me about your previous real estate experience. And I said, every single time they say, oh, yeah, we had a great experience with our past agent. We really liked her. In fact, one particular person said they'd used her for 3 transactions and loved her. But they were hiring me because I was so creative marketing myself that they knew I could do a better job marketing their home. And I don't want you guys to lose sight of that. When we send out mediocre mailers or mediocre email marketing, that's how our clients think we're going to market their home. So take time to be creative because it matters.
It always matters. All right. So number 3, cohesiveness. So one of the great things about Keller Williams, right, is it allows you to build your own brand and really have your own kind of look and feel. And then KW comes up behind you and supports you, right? So you have the power and strength of the largest real estate company in the world, and yet you still get to make it about you. That is a unique value proposition. Not every brokerage thinks that way. And because we think that way, you should take full advantage of it, right? So when we think about building that brand, and what's the golden thread that goes throughout all of your marketing efforts, right? Is it your mission? Is it a particular color? Is it a logo? Is it a symbol, right? Having something that whenever somebody sees your mailer or gets a message from you in a phone call or has an event and sees some sort of print media, right? All of it should have somewhat of a similar feel. This is just what allows you to kind of take it to the next level and show your consumer that you are organized, right? There's a method to your madness. But cohesiveness is a really big deal. The best example we can give of this is the door knocker. So some of you may know this, but our logo has involved the door knocker for since 2005 when Lesley got into the business. And that door knocker originally was just kind of a nice, pretty little image. Once we started developing our mission is to create massive opportunities for others through real estate. And once we kind of verbalized that and inked that, the door knocker took on a little different meaning, right? The door knocker opens up doors of opportunity, and we put it on everything. I mean, our newsletter is called the Door Knocker. We'll give you a link to sign up for. Yeah.
Stickers, it says door knocker, opportunity knocks, right?
Yeah. So we have a newsletter for agents. That's the Door Knocker for agents. I mean, we really kind of use this cohesively throughout everything that we do.
And if you send us a referral, we'll send you a pair of socks and pay your referral. You know why you get the socks with door knockers on them? Is because your referrals knock our socks off.
Exactly.
So the cohesive theme runs through everything we do.
Yep. And then finally, call to action. So this was kind of one of those learning moments for us. For years and years and years, we sent out really consistent, creative, cohesive messages, and we never asked for business. Our school of thought here was, well, if we're so good, the phone will just automatically ring. The reality is you have to activate the people in your database. You have to teach them how they help you. And so calls to action, we've all heard the call to action, who do you know that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And that's the sleepiest call to action that I can come up with. Where we really have a lot of success is when we get more granular in that call to action. What I mean by granular would be, let's get specific in a segment. Who do you know that's currently renting and would be interested in purchasing their first home? Who do you know that would be interested in building wealth by investing in real estate? Who do you know that maybe finds himself in an empty nest situation? The kids have moved out and they feel like a BB in a boxcar, right? They need to downsize and get into something a little bit smaller, change their lifestyle a little bit. All of these things are specific, types of buyers and sellers that we've now brought these people in our database, brought it to their attention, and activated them so that they now know how to help us, and that's crucial.
Super important. My favorite call to action lately, especially at the beginning of the year, because that's when people are setting goals to buy real estate this year, is everyone knows 7 people that will buy or sell real estate this year. And while I would love for you to remember us for all 7, could you just remember me for 1? And people, you chuckle when you say it, and people really truly do like think about, oh my goodness, I need to remember the Peters for a referral this year.
Yeah.
And we say this a lot at our events when we have the whole crowd. It's who do you know, not who do you know that's looking to buy or sell, but everyone knows 7 people this year. Can you just remember us for 1? Right? That's a really great call to action. Okay, so let's get to it, guys. This is what you came for, right? This is what you showed up for. So let's talk about what our 36 touch actually looks like. So the basis of our 36 touch has always been our mailers, because we know that basically in the downturn, agents stopped mailing because they didn't want to spend money. And so if we could meet our clients in their mailboxes and get them to open our mail, that we had the upper hand. So we've continued that. And we just make our people really like our mail. So how do we do that? We send 1 item of value every single quarter. So that could be a cling or a Peters Company sticker. It could be a Post-it notepad. It could be a foam wallet. It could be Kool-Aid packets.
Eyeglass cloth.
It could be an eyeglass cloth. It could be a Zoom cover. You know the little Zoom covers? Now you guys see me, now you don't. It has a door knocker on it. Right? So we send things that condition them to open our mail, and it has legs. And what does that mean? We want a mailer with legs, something that outlasts just that piece of mail. Because what do when they get a postcard? Pick it up, throw it straight in the trash, right?
You got seconds basically to make an impression.
Seconds, right? And so if you send something super creative, they're going to open it. And if they can keep it and use it, it's even better. You know, the little, what are the jar openers?
The grippers.
The gripper jar openers, those fit in an envelope. And that's a really good touch that they'll keep in their kitchen drawer for a really long time and see your logo. So an item of value every single quarter. The other items that we send per quarter is we always send an event invitation. So here's an example below of our Mary Poppins invitation. Remember when you guys were little kids and you got invitations to McDonald's birthday parties? Or Andy and I just old. That was gone by the time you guys were there. So
those are awesome. Those are the best.
They were. And so we want to actually send invitations to our events. Why? Because people are going to put it on their refrigerator or put it on their pushpin board, right? Their cork board, and it's going to last for a month. So when we get to this part, a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, do you have like a graphic designer on staff? Our director of marketing is really great at creating these mailers, and I don't want her to spend her time doing it. So guys, event invitations go straight to Etsy. They will work with the dimensions. You give them the postcard size. You can pay them a little bit extra money, type in what kind of event invitation you like, and you're looking at about $25 to design. And then we send it straight to our favorite postcard company called Primo Print. They're incredibly inexpensive, primoprint.com. We do not get money for recommending them to you, I promise. I wish we did. But I would highly recommend looking into them. And then the third mailer every single quarter is actually a market update. Gary tells us to be the economist of choice for our database. So it's our job to not tell them about the national market, but actually break down the local market statistics and let them know what's going on with home values, what's going on with days on market, what about average sales to list price, how many homes are selling in your area, is there shortage of supply, shortage of demand, like what's going on in your local market, and you be the economist of choice. Now, most time when we get to this, a lot of people think, oh my goodness, that's a postcard every single month. And this is a lot of content that I'm coming up with. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you about the market update. Andy and I, every single month, write a blog. Actually, we don't write it anymore. We actually video it. We do a
quicker.
video blog and we do it 2 minutes and we just talk about the local market. That's posted all throughout our social media. It's included in our email newsletter. And then our director of marketing takes whatever we say in that blog and creates a postcard around that. So repurpose content. When you look at this marketing plan, and I know some of you are individual agents on this call or new agents, and you're thinking 36 touches. Oh my God, like this is so much in a mailer every single month. What I want you to do is first just start small. I started at 12 and then we built up to 36, right? Have a plan to start small and then add on top of that. So do you want to talk about email newsletters?
Yeah, I mean, email newsletter, a lot of times people get in the weeds on this. If you, by the way, you can, if you like the Peters Company on Facebook, at the end of every month, we post all of our newsletters. So you can go back years and see all of our newsletters. And I don't want you to get overwhelmed when you look at them because they didn't start that way. You know, as we gained a leverage piece here, a leverage piece there, that newsletter has gotten a little bit more quote unquote fancy. But if you did nothing more than take that market update that you send in a mailer and you created a blog post or a video, like Lesley was saying, that could be like the core content of that email newsletter. You could just give them an update on the market, maybe share some personal interest stories of clients that you've helped with their permission, of course. Maybe give them an update on what the rates are doing right now. And that could be it. Like it doesn't have to be complicated.
Right. Absolutely. And I'll tell you with email newsletters, sorry, we're at home and our dogs are here and they're so annoying. There's the so with email newsletters, guys, MailChimp is a really awesome resource and they already have templates built out for you. And I know some of you are probably using Command too. We've used MailChimp for years. One thing I really like about it is you can go in the back door of MailChimp and you can see what people are clicking on. And then that helps you create more content that people like in the future. So really analyzing your newsletters after they hit mailboxes and seeing what people like is huge in helping you to just learn a little bit more about what people actually like and how you can meet them where they are. So let's talk about events. And before we do that, this is a point where a lot of people get super overwhelmed. And we did not start with events. We have 4 events a year. Actually, we have 10 events a year now, but ignore that. 6 of them are for VIPs and they're smaller events. So we're not even going to talk about those. Let's talk about our 4 major events. They're called legacy events and we do them every year. We typically have about 200, maybe 250 people in attendance at these events. And you are probably thinking, oh my gosh, that is so expensive. Guys, we spend very little on these events because we have sponsors for every single event. So before you check out, when we're talking about these events, I want you to think about, could you do tacos and margaritas at a local Mexican restaurant? That would be a really reasonable thing. Could you have people over to your house for wine and cheese after COVID? We're doing a fun event this week, actually,
Thursday
in 2 days. Tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow's Thursday. We're doing a family bingo night, and it's musical bingo. We paid someone that runs the event. She's $150. We're giving away $50 gift cards to their local favorite restaurant, so we can give back to the restaurant community, right? The whole event's going to cost less than $500. And so there are ways that you can adapt during COVID to have virtual events for inexpensive. But we talked about musical bingo. So let's talk about the rest of the events. Do you want to take the second one, the egg hunt?
Yeah. So, well, we generally, before we get to the egg hunt, when it's super cold outside, January, February-ish, we generally have a movie, right? In non-COVID times where we'll rent out a movie theater. And we'll generally start with it could be 150 or 200 person movie theater. And then we want to be at a theater that will work with us. So if we have more RSVPs, we can keep taking a larger theater screen room. But the point of that is we always pick a movie that will appeal to the masses, right? Star Wars was always a good choice. We did Mary Poppins. We did, in the holidays, we actually ended up doing The Grinch. we decided to do that event instead of in January, February. We did it in December.
At a drive-in movie. Don't worry, we
That was
didn't
great.
take people to a movie theater.
And the second event is an Easter egg hunt that's, really just kind of nostalgic. We pay for a kind of creepy Easter bunny to dress up, and then the kids get their pictures taken with the Easter bunny.
We have a professional photographer that takes them.
That's another good point, right? We have a professional photographer at every event. The reason we do that is we want to be able to follow up with the picture that their family took and just thank them for coming. And then, of course, we see this show up in social media and it's hashtag the Peters Company. And all of a sudden we get to kind of have legs for our events. But the Easter egg hunt's great. We hide 1,500, 2,000 Easter eggs. They're generally gone in about 5 minutes. The kids just go nuts for that. There's some golden eggs. We have a lot of fun with that.
There's a bubble show. We hire a bubble person, and we've adapted that this year. So we are actually going to do our Easter egg hunt at our house, which we typically don't, but we're going to do just photos this year with the Easter bunny on our front porch and have people sign up for every 20-minute increments. And we've packed an Easter egg kit for them in Peters Company bags. We've stuffed Easter eggs. We have a fun little exercise for the kids, and we're going to give each family a bag as they come to take their photos with the Easter bunny.
Yeah, then they can go home and have their own Easter egg hunt
Right.
at home. The next event that we do, the next legacy event, is more of every one of these events has kind of a different target audience. The next one is a Kentucky Derby party, and we've been doing this for years. This is an adult-only party. We do not provide childcare. Nobody brings their kids to this event. There's a bartender that serves mint juleps. People get dressed up. There's always a best dressed award, a best hat award. And we actually have a betting station where people go and they bet for $10. They pick a horse, they write their name on a slip of paper, and then we have mason jars for all the horses that are in the race. So they put their name on a sheet of paper and drop it in the mason jar for the horse that they think will win. And then we all cheer hard for 2 minutes, right, for the Kentucky Derby. And then we pick a winner out of the winning horse's mason jar. We pick a name out, and that person wins a vacation trip at our beach place in Hilton Head.
Where does the money go?
Yeah, all that money actually is donated to a charity that's pretty near and dear to our heart called Chris 180 that impacts childhood and adolescent homelessness within the Atlanta community. Anything that you can do when you get people together and kind of generate critical mass, it'll let people know what your heart is, where your heart is, and what's important to you, and really magnify your influence to do some good.
Absolutely. And you want to make sure that whatever charity you support, I think it's great if you can support that charity all year long at every single event. So at our Easter egg hunt, people will actually bring travel size of soaps, toothpaste, toothbrushes, that sort of thing. And we'll make homeless kits. Our whole team will take all of the supplies that we gather and we'll make homeless kits. At our pumpkin patch, which we're going to talk about in a minute, we actually, at our pumpkin patch, we have a coat drive for Chris 180. And then our movie event, our drive-in movie event, or our movie in-person event, we always invite them to come. So the group homes actually can come, and we have special seating for them, and we welcome them and call them out that they're there.
Yeah.
So the pumpkin patch.
Yeah, the fourth and final legacy event is a pumpkin patch that started out very innocently small. We turned our front yard into a pumpkin patch. People came. It was kind of a carnival atmosphere, cotton candy, popcorn, jumpies, all that stuff, right? And it has evolved into such a large event. We've been doing it now for 11 years that now we actually go to a pumpkin patch and we buy people's admission, and we have kind of a separate area at the pumpkin patch place, at the pumpkin patch park,
farm.
at the pumpkin patch farm. And we get an opportunity to kind of interact with our clients and take pictures.
I want to come with you.
So,
Super fun.
so those are the 4 legacy events.
The kids
think
don't
about the
want you
event.
driving either. You can come. I'm done with this.
Can you please mute yourself,
done
Lana?
soon.
Lana, please mute yourself.
So the thing about the events that is so unique is it provides you with an opportunity to make a phone call or send a message, right? I think real estate agents far too often don't make their lead generation calls or touches because they don't really have anything of value to share. And when we don't have anything that we think is valuable to share, it just stops us in our tracks, right? Well, nobody ever was offended by being invited to an event. So if you look at the events, it's basically like a booby trap. You're booby trapping yourself to make sure you can make your calls, right? And just have a really casual call. Hey, I thought of you. I wanted you to come to this event. It's awesome. Here's what we're going to be doing. Can I go ahead and RSVP for you right now? That is all it takes. And typically when you have a human conversation with somebody and you offer something of value to them, they're going to ask you how you're doing, what's going on with you. And at the moment that they ask about you, you go to business. You do not go personal, right? Oh, I'm so busy, or I'm juggling virtual school, or what. You don't go there. You go to what's happening in the market right now, and what are we doing to take advantage of it for our clients. So this is about knowing the statistics, knowing the trends in your particular market, and communicating that, right? And a personal touch.
A personal touch. We want to be involved in people's lives. I mean, that's just it, guys. We want to know what's going on in our clients' lives. We want to give baby gifts when they have babies, wedding gifts when they have a sad time in their life. We want to send a memorial in their honor of their loved one. And then we also want to touch them every single year with the anniversary CMA on their month of their home anniversary. We want to actually give them a current market analysis of their home. It's like going to the doctor. It's like a doctor's checkup. What's their home worth now? And it's our job to stay in touch with them. So that gets us way past 36 touches every single year. Okay, let me see if I can get to the next slide. So as you get started, and I know we have less than 10 minutes of this, so I'll speed through this. But as you guys get started, I want you to think about a concept called the attractive character, because this will really help when you're creating a cohesive theme for your marketing plan. There's a book called .com Secrets. Andy loves it.
It's terrible. It really is a terrible book. Do not read this book.
Andy, so bad to say that. Anyway, Andy doesn't like ClickFunnels. There is one strategy, though, that is so important from this book that I think we should all understand, and it's called the attractive character. It's actually why your database is connected to you. It's why they want to do business with you. And there's kind of 4 types of characters, and you're typically one of them: a leader, adventurer, reporter, or reluctant hero. Understand who you are and be more of that. For you guys today, you should pull your latest mailers, your latest emails, your latest social media post, and see what that theme is of your attractive character, and then do more of that, because that's how people relate to you.
Yeah, I think on social media, the best way to kind of figure this out is what posts have you made? Like if you look at your last 5 or so posts, what posts got the most reactions, right? Likes, loves, whatever. Whatever that is, whatever the best post is that you've made, that's what people expect from you. That's content people expect from you. So run to that. Go do more of that.
Yeah, and be you, unless you're negative Nelly. If you're negative, don't be you. Be positive Patty, right? But be you, because people are not connected to perfectionism, right? They want genuine, authentic relationships. That's why they want to do business with you. So be you. And I love the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek.
This is a good one.
It's a great book. And if you haven't read it, you should, because what we know is that people are not connected to you because you sell real estate. People are connected to you because the why behind what you do. So you all need to understand your why so you can build this amazing marketing touch plan. Every single day, I lead generate to 11 people, 55 people a week. We run a 36 touch plan. I write 15 handwritten notes a week. And all of that really is Monday. I mean, it just is. just a reminder that millions are made in the mundane. So set up routines, set up consistency in lead generation, consistency in marketing, because that's where the millions are made.
Consistency compounds.
Consistency does compound. And then the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is a quote that Gary said to us years and years ago, and it's rang so true for us, is stop marketing and start serving your people. And for us, that is just tremendous. I'll tell you a quick story. So Andy and I were at some clients' houses in 2015, and they actually bought our old house, our clients did. And they had our whole family over for dinner. And the wife has this beautiful British accent. And she said, so Lesley, how are you guys? How's business? And I said, oh, Wills, it's wonderful. I said, we are the number 2 team in the whole state of Georgia. And she looked at me and she said, well, you'll never be number 1. And I just paused for a moment and I couldn't understand what she meant. And I said, so Wills, what do you mean by that? And she said, well, you'll never be number 1 because you guys care about people too much. And so for me, and for that moment on, the next year we became number 1 in the state of Georgia, and my whole elevator speech changed. It's we're number 1 because we make every single client feel like there are only one. And that's what we have to do. We have to focus on the relationship. We have to focus on the person. I don't care if the 11 people I call today need a house to buy or sell. It's just about caring for them, because if I continually lead generate and provide value to my database and invite people to events, and I'm the economist of choice and I'm helping them, the business is going to come. So if you don't remember anything else, or you don't write down anything else today, just write down that, stop marketing and start serving. So the secret of getting ahead is getting started. So what are you guys going to start today? We're going to open it up for questions in a minute. But before we do, there's 3 ways that you can keep in touch with us. We actually have a monthly marketing newsletter for agents called The Door Knocker for Agents that Andy mentioned before. And we send that at the end of every single month. We have one going out tomorrow. We share our tips for events, our tips for mailers, our tips for video blogs, all of that stuff. We share something every month with agents across the country. You can sign up by going to thepeterscompany.com/connect. Do not sign up on our first page if you want to receive the agent newsletter, because the first page, the little pop-up for the newsletter, is actually our client newsletter. So be sure you go to that site to sign up for the agent newsletter. You can also join us. We have a Facebook private page, Peters Co 36 Touch, where agents all across the country share their ideas. We would love for you to share there. And you can always get in touch with us. If you have an Atlanta, Georgia referral, we would be so honored to serve them. And you can reach out to us at weCare@thepeterscompany.com. You
Get your
guys,
socks.
and you got to get a pair
your
of socks.
Yeah.
And your referrals do knock our socks off. So let's go to chat. I'm going to look in the chat box and see.
Sure.
No, I'm going to leave that up for a minute so they can see that in case they need it. I can still go to chat. Okay, let's see what kind of questions you guys have. Creative marketing. I use send out cards to make personalized cards. Dana, I love this. Send out cards is awesome. We use them for years and years. And now we have a full-time runner who basically does our cards and sends out all of our things. But send out cards is an amazing leverage piece. So I love that you gave that tip. It's awesome. MailChimp is great and seeks right to command. I love that. Okay, what questions do you guys have for us? I know we're right up against it at 11 o'clock. Who has a question? You can unmute yourself. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you guys so much. So much amazing information. One thing I will say is, for some of us are here in Philadelphia, hosting an event, right, like at a pumpkin patch isn't as feasible. Do you ever change your events? Has it always been Derby and Pumpkin Patch? Have you done other events? Any insight about like your city events maybe that could inspire some of us?
Yeah, I love that question. So early on, we tried a lot of different events. And what we did is, you should always replay the call after every single event, right? You should say, oh my goodness, okay, what can I do better? Did my clients come? And you typically don't know until that second year
Yeah.
if they show up again, whether it's really successful, right?
Was the second year better than the first year?
And that's a sign that they really like the event. So for our people, the reason we've really done the Easter egg hunt, the Kentucky Derby, the movie, and the pumpkin patch every year is because that's what they love and that's what they show up for. And it's become a part of their lives and a part of their family's lives. We've tried other things. We've tried a bowling night, and we've actually done that in conjunction kind of with Super Bowl weekend, but on a Saturday. And we have called it a
Pet bowl.
pet bowl. And we actually bowl for a pet charity. To be honest, you could rent a really cool bowling alley in downtown Philadelphia. We did that, and our people didn't really love it. And so they didn't come back the next year and support it as much as we thought they would. So we stopped. We're actually, the Peters Company was throwing in $10 per strike for pet charities in 3 hours.
We've done events at breweries before. One of our ahas with that is that a lot of times going to particular locales, people, they would be more apt to come if they could bring a friend, right? Instead of just them showing up with a bunch of potential random strangers. They'd know us, but they just don't get excited about that. So if you are going to do something, maybe it's something that you like to do. One strategy would be, hey, bring a friend, right? You have +2 to bring to this event. I think that drives a lot more interest.
We've rented out restaurants. We've had a sommelier do wine tastings. We have had, and that's been successful. We do that for our VIPs, our smaller crowds. We've also had our interior designer do the top 10 trends every year and do wine and cheese, and that's more of a ladies event. And then we typically give away, the Peters Company gives away like 2 hours with her in a drawing for everybody that attends. That event is really well attended. Girls love it.
We've done skeet shooting for, who I won't say just for guys, because we've had ladies,
plenty of girls show up
for that too. But I mean, what I would say is, what is it that you enjoy doing? Right? Let your business, the purpose of business is to fund the perfect life, right? So how could your marketing plan actually fund the things that you enjoy? How could it help you get like-minded with the people in your database? And it is a little bit of trial and error. I mean, I don't think you get it right by getting it right all the time.
We've done nail salon takeovers. And we do that every single year, by the way, for our VIPs. We take over 2 nail salons in 2 different areas of town at night, and we pay for manis and petties for everyone. People have to sign up for that.
We've done remote car washes. We've done remote pet grooming. We've provided that for clients before. We've done headshots where people can come and get, their professional headshot. And that is usually a pretty good experience. Anytime you can get people to RSVP, the other value in that is you can prepare for them, right? Whenever we would have events at our office and our VIPs, past clients would show up, and we knew when they were coming, we were ready with like a comparative market analysis for their neighborhood. We could have a real estate conversation with them. We could ask them, hey, when's the last time you thought about moving? Or what's your dream home look like? When do you plan to be settled in that home? So we could use those events as teed up opportunities to have a real estate conversation.
Yeah. And I think starting small is huge, Dana. Like if you haven't done events before, start small. Do a nail salon takeover, do a wine sommelier, right? Do something small with a small group, and then it'll grow over time. Okay, what other questions do you guys have?
Hi, Lesley, this question is directed to you. Plans as you grow your business. So I'm a new agent at Keller Williams, Philadelphia. I'm just starting out. So I'm wondering, I love structure, and I would love to hear more about what your Monday typically looks like. I know you mentioned it earlier in the conversation, and if you plan earlier, the rest of your week will go more smoothly. And how do you set that pace for yourself on a Monday?
Yeah, I think you're kind of going in and out there, but I think it was about setting a schedule. I think that's a big part of the consistency piece, right? And a lot of people say, oh, well, I do all my business planning in October or November for the new year. So these are all great ideas, Andy. I'm just going to wait until, this coming October and November to start that plan. And I would really caution you with that approach. Think of it as like, what could you start March the 1st? That's next week, right? And how could you have a plan that started March 1st and ran through February 28, 2022? Don't think of it in calendar years. Think of it as right now. And go ahead and plan out, like, what are the events going to be like? When do you need to market those events by? What does that look like? What is the day that the newsletter needs to go out, or the mailer needs to go out? Because if you don't think about that in advance, to Leslie's point earlier, you're just going to get busy, and that's going to be the first thing that falls by the wayside.
And I think another part of your question was like, what does a day structure look like in the week and for lead generation and how to do that? Well, the first thing Andy mentioned was the marketing plan, right? And planning that out in advance. For our director of marketing, the newsletter always goes out on the last day of the month. She knows that's coming. She plans for it. On the 15th of the month, she's always sending the mailer for the next month. So she has this structure in place. For me as an agent, I have structure in place. I'm making 11 contacts every single day. And those contacts are typically around an event. What's going on? Is it a VIP event coming, or is it another event coming? So I think it's so important to have structure and to really count it, because a lot of you are thinking, oh my gosh, 11 contacts a day, that's easy. But I guarantee you, when you start tracking and making tally marks every day and making your notes in command, it's a little bit harder than you think to hit that contact. And a contact for me is someone that I did have a real estate conversation with, not just someone I chatted with. So that's really important, to have how many contacts you need, how many you're going to contact every single day. And then maybe handwritten notes. Someone just asked in the chat box, what's a good way to build rapport with new or potential clients or people you just met? I don't know how you guys are doing right now in Philadelphia, if you're able to go to coffee or you're able to go to restaurants. But when I was brand new in the business, one of my big things was actually 2 coffees and 2 lunches or dinners every single week, because I wanted to be belly to belly, face to face with people. It's crucial. So how can you schedule? And if it's not in person right now in Philadelphia, then maybe you guys do a Zoom happy hour or Zoom coffee with a few friends or a few potential clients. What other questions do you guys have?
I have a quick question. In the beginning, how much did these events cost you?
Oh, great question. A couple $100. We would go to Costco and buy wine. We might have 30 people in attendance and cheese, and it would just be really inexpensive. I think we've rented out like one of our favorite Mexican places for tacos and margaritas, and it was like $500. Now our events are at least $4,000 typically an event, or more. And that's pretty much funded by our sponsors because we give them so much business. But yeah, start small. It doesn't have to be super expensive. And we still are super economical. In fact, our Easter egg hunt should cost over $4,000, but because of the COVID environment, we think we can do it for under $2,000 this year. So does that help you?
And the best way to get sponsorships, by the way, is to, you've made this marketing plan or these events, you've laid them out, and go ahead and email all of your vendor partners and just say, hey, here's the amount of people we believe will be reached by this event. Here's the budget for this event. Here's the date. While we would love to have your sponsorship, we're accepting half or full sponsorships for all of these events. We used to have to chase people down to get money, and we would wait to do it until the last minute. Sometimes we'd end up having to eat the money for the events if we couldn't find a sponsor. Now we get those booked up generally within the first 30 days of putting that out there. Yeah, for the whole year.
Yeah.
And did you tell them what the budget was for events?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? You guys, this has been fun being on Zoom. I would prefer in person. We'd love to come back to Philadelphia. We had a great time with you guys a couple of years ago. That was a lot of fun.
I love your leadership there.
They are amazing. You guys are so blessed.
Chris and Grav. And,
Oh my gosh, you guys are
Peter.
amazing. And I think Chris may be on this call. I saw his name pop up earlier. So we hope you guys have an awesome week. Subscribe to our newsletter. We hope to see you on Facebook. Find us, friend us. And if we can help you in any way, just let us know. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
y'all.
you. Bye.
Thank you.